Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Aryna Sabalenka versus Elena Rybakina for the final of the 2025 WTA Finals tournament. Very much looking forward to getting into this one because it's two players who are in really good form right now. They're unbeaten in this tournament and they will clash in what should be a very exciting final. The head-to-head is 8-5 in favor of Sabalenka, but on a hard court specifically, it's actually 5 wins apiece. So this should be a really entertaining matchup. Before we do get into the detail and of course my prediction, do remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you are new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Appreciate each and every one of you. So Sabalenka and Rybakina have both looked imperious in this tournament so far. They had to come and fight pretty hard in their semi-final matches, that's for sure. But in the end, they came out victorious. So we'll go through their matches now. We'll then talk about the head-to-head. I will then touch upon the tactics and the matchup as a whole, and ultimately then give you guys my prediction. Let's start off with Sabalenka. So she beat Paolini in straight sets in her first match. She then beat Pegula in 3 sets, Goff in straight sets, and then beat Anisimova in 3 sets. Look, she has looked very good, quite polished in her performances, and I've been quite impressed by the world number one. She had a pretty long break after the US Open, played the Wuhan Open, and now the WTA Finals. So it's been a pretty quiet end to the year for her, but it's been a very successful year in that, and this would be the cherry on the top if she were to get the title here. For Rybakina, she beat Anisimova in her first match in straight sets, then Swiatek in 3. Was supposed to play Keys, but that got cancelled because Keys pulled out, so she played Alexandrova, beat her in straight sets, then came from a set down against Jessica Pegula, who she does have a losing head-to-head against, and beat her in 3 sets. The Kazakh has had a very up and down season, and I would argue that it's actually had more downs than ups this year, but she's ending the season really strong. And I think that could be extremely positive if she were to get the title here against Sabalenka, to have that confidence and that momentum then going into 2026, I think would be a huge boost to her game and also to her psyche. In terms of the head-to-head, so I mentioned it's 5-all on the hard court. The last time they played was at Wuhan in China, so pretty recently, and Sabalenka won that one 6-3, 6-3. They also played in Cincinnati this year, and Rybakina looked imperious, winning 6-1, 6-4. Those are the 2 hardcore matches they played. They played one on grass, a very, very tight match in Berlin, but we won't touch upon that because it's not really relevant given the conditions. The one thing I will say is they have never played indoors on a hard court, so it is a slightly different surface, as we know. But because both players have some similarities in the way they play, I think it's actually, I don't think it favors one player more than the other, if I'm being honest. You could argue maybe it slightly favors Rybakina a bit more because her serve is so important to her game, even more so than Sabalenka. But I don't know. I think it's relatively even Stevens when it comes to the effect it has on both players' games. Look, let's talk about the matchup. So Rybakina has looked very good. I'm just looking through her matches, and the match against Pegula, she hit 15 aces. 73% of first serve points won. Sabalenka, against Goff, she was super impressive, winning in straight sets, and 78% of first serves in, 67% of first serve points won, 57% behind the second serve, which is even more impressive. She's been making a lot of first serves, Sabalenka, and her serve +1 play, as we know, is really important, as it is for Rybakina. So the first serve battle is going to be really crucial, I think. Both rely on it heavily, either to win free points or to win points very early on with the +1 forehand or backhand. Both players have power of both wings. So the player with the, not necessarily the higher first serve percentage, but more so the higher first serve win percentage, is going to be in a very good position to win the match. Then the second serve, the return of second serve specifically, is going to be a big, in my opinion, big factor in this matchup, because Rybakina is very aggressive with the second serve return, as is Sabalenka. And that will give both opportunities to get on the front foot, really push the other back, especially for Sabalenka against Rybakina. Rybakina does not like having the ball fired at her feet. I mean, no player does, but she struggles with it more than, I would say, the other top 10 players. And Sabalenka also, you know, it's not a natural shot like that defensive pickup for her, and it's a very tough shot generally in tennis. But I think because both players are quite tall, they're both 6 foot, 6'1", I think, or around that. Look, it's going to be difficult to have to get that low and react in that way. I would actually argue that Sabalenka probably wants the rallies to be slightly longer especially on the Rybakina serve. She wants to extend the rallies, force Rybakina to play neutral rallies, and then try and take control of the point, Sabalenka, because she knows that she has a superior movement, in my opinion. And Rybakina, though, has the higher, in my opinion, ceiling when it comes to specifically ground stroke power and penetration. She hits very flat, very deep, can find really, really good angles, and it's just a really tough ball to defend off. Sabalenka, if I was her, I would actually potentially utilize the backhand slice. I think on these faster hard courts, it's not a bad ploy. Cross court into the backhand, and actually, if she can slice down the line into the Rybakina forehand, that shot she likes to really wind up. If she can slice effectively, it will get the ball out of Rybakina's contact, or her ideal contact zone. And that is going to be key. If she can get it out of her hitting zone, her ideal hitting zone, that is. Because Rybakina likes to keep the point short, and she does so by getting into position early, planting her feet, and then really rocketing through the ball. And she's got extremely good timing. Sabalenka has been very good in tiebreakers this year, but Rybakina has shown some real clutch tendencies in the big points in this tournament specifically. What I would say is whoever can vary, so Sabalenka is going to vary the pace more than Rybakina. Rybakina will have to vary the pace with, she's not going to slice much, I don't think. So we're really going to see Rybakina, if she's going to vary, it's going to be hitting flatter and then with more spin and a bit more height, potentially shorter angles, that type of thing, trying to really make Sabalenka move and feel uncomfortable and awkward. So I think Rybakina's depth and her accuracy is going to be really key for her. For Sabalenka, variety is going to be a key factor. And it's going to come down to who can control the points better. And a lot of that is going to come down to who can wrestle momentum of the point in the first 3 shots. And if they can, then more likely than not, they're going to come out on top in those points. Look, I mean, the drop shot as well, Sabalenka utilizes it really well. Against Rybakina, it's not a bad ploy. Rybakina, I think, does struggle against that, and even coming forward to the net, although Rybakina can pick you off of the net quite easily because she has that precision when it comes to her ground stroke baseline game. But as she's not an elite mover, if Sabalenka volleys well enough, or at least it's a good enough approach shot, then she could really apply pressure to Rybakina and make her feel suffocated by also moving forward. Look, this is going to be an interesting one. I think Rybakina could get the win. She has the weapons to really disrupt Sabalenka and win this match. I think the safe pick is Sabalenka because we know that she's consistency-wise, she's shown a more consistent level. Whereas we've seen the peaks and troughs of the oscillation of Rybakina's level, right? Even throughout this tournament at times, but especially in the last few months and this year as a whole. It's a tough one. I think Sabalenka will do it. I think she'll get her WTA Finals title, and I think she'll win in 3 sets. I think it's going to be really tight. I'm very much unsure of my pick. I think Rybakina, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins, if I'm being completely honest, but I think Sabalenka will get it done. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.